Hello again, MLive readers and Pistons fans. David Mayo from MLive here to discuss once again the Pistons 2015-16 training camp projections. Today we're looking at small forwards, and while the Pistons have invested a lot of money this year in point guards, figure to do the same before the season begins in Andre Drummond's contract extension, this is their counterbalance. They have a couple of guys at small forward in Marcus Morse and Stanley Johnson, who they could conceivably build that position around for years to come, with Morse under a 4-year contract extension that he signed with Phoenix for $20 million. And Johnson, of course, their first-round draft pick, number 8 overall pick, beginning his rookie contract. So they have a lot of flexibility. They have high hopes that Johnson's their guy of the future here. And Pistons fans probably are going to want to see the job go to Johnson by default. That's probably not going to happen. Marcus Morse is going to have a lot to say about it. The Pistons got him, of course, because he has a legal situation, and probably would have still been in Phoenix if not for it. The Suns signed him to a value contract with sort of the tacit promise that they would keep him and his twin brother Markieff Morse together as players on the Suns. That, of course, didn't happen when the Pistons made the trade to acquire Marcus Morse and give him some veteran presence at a position where there's really a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, Stanley Johnson, they think he's going to be the guy of the future, but there's a lot of question here about whether Morse is a guy who's worthy of a starter's role. There's question as to when Johnson's going to take the job over, and in the meantime, you've got Morse, who's a pretty good three-point shooter, 36.3% of it for his career, which is comparable to Tayshaun Prince, the player ostensibly the Pistons are replacing. His length is comparable to Prince. He's not as good a defender, but he's certainly a much better rebounder and a more physical presence than Tayshaun was. So at $5 million a year for the next 4 years in today's NBA, to get a younger guy with that kind of length on the perimeter to complement Johnson and keep the seat warm is a very good deal and a bargain. Johnson, it's a cast of thousands besides him. Darren Hilliard is also listed at the position and could play down to shooting guard. Danny Granger and Cartier Martin are also listed at the position. Both have guaranteed contracts, as does Reggie Bullock, who's also listed at the position. All three of those guys, Bullock, Granger, and Martin, have tenuous jobs right now. The Pistons are going to have to eat some guaranteed contracts this year, and those three guys are prime candidates for it to happen to. But the Pistons have some hopes that Hilliard is going to be a good player, both as a two-man and a three-man, kind of a hybrid wing. And Stanley Johnson is the guy they have tremendous hopes for. He showed a high basketball IQ in the summer league. 2015 summer was the summer of Stanley, and 2015 October is going to be the training camp of Stanley. He's a big body who can create some space for himself. He was a better finisher at the basket in summer league than advertised. There was a lot of concern about that with him, and the one thing that he shot the ball better than some people expected, and yet he has that one hitch in his release point. He almost shoots his jump shot off his forehead, which we're shooting. Coach Dave Hopla comes in and he'll work with some key guys, most notably Andre Drummond on his free throw shooting and shooting in general. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to get his shooting up. Spencer Dinwiddie to improve his shooting, and certainly Stanley Johnson. Although Johnson's is a little bit more form related than the other guys, so you have to be careful. It'll be a delicate coaching endeavor. It'll be interesting to watch because you don't want to mess with his form too much when he's actually had some pretty good success shooting the ball in his early days with the Pistons. They go into the camp with the expectation that at some point Stanley Johnson soon will push Marcus Morse for starting minutes, and when that happens, Morse could play some 4. It could happen. Certainly, Morse could play some 4 before Stanley Johnson takes the starting job, and the Pistons have some hopes that both of those guys have some flexibility to play multiple positions, including Johnson down to 2 guard. So, position of the most intrigue this season as the Pistons go into it. A lot of uncertainty, but not a lot of commitment contractually as far as dollars, and yet potentially two guys the Pistons could build around in the very long term if they like what they see this year.